There's so much trouble in this country. The obedience to the law is almost optional. My God, I hate drugs.
Members of FOCAP. And take note that this is the first time that I'm having a press briefing in Singapore. So whatever press briefings may have been had earlier was not an official palace briefing, but briefing of the respective secretaries who appeared in those conferences. Now, I only have matters taken up in the bilateral between the Vietnamese government, the Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc and the President, which ended about an hour and a half ago, and some pointers for the pull-aside meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, although I think it may still be, it hasn't started yet, no? So perhaps I should not mention, no, what will be discussed there yet. No? So we'll just talk about the Vietnamese meeting, and it's substantial. To give you a background, the President and the Prime Minister discussed about purchase of rice, of course, Vietnam reiterating their willingness to supply quality rice to the Philippines. The issue of fishermen being arrested for illegal fishing was also discussed. Our President stressing na hindi naman masyadong malaking issue to. Marami naman daw isda, nabobor na yung mga isda, nag-aantay na mahuli. At ito'y maliit na bagay. So, pagkahuli, rinirelease naman. At nagpasalamat din naman yung Prime Minister po ng Vietnam, lalong-lalo na nabalitaan nila na si Presidente pa mismo ang nag-send off ng huling mga pinalayang mga mangingisda. Nag-usap din sila na palalawagin pa yung kooperasyon pagdating sa seguridad, pag-uusap ng seguridad sa panig ng Pilipinas at ng Vietnam. Na-discuss po ang West Philippine Sea. Ang sabi po ng Vietnam, hinahangaan po nila ang naging posisyon ng Pilipinas pagdating sa China sa usaping West Philippine Sea. At dahil nga po dyan ay magkakaroon ng mas madaming kooperasyon sa panig ng Pilipinas at ng Vietnam tungkol dito sa West Philippine Sea. Pero yan po yung kauna-unahang beses na nagsabi ng Vietnam na hinahangaan nila tayo, samantalang sa Pilipinas po binabato tayo ng oposisyon, no, pagdating sa usaping West Philippine Sea. At ang Presidente naman po, lininaw na sa West Philippine Sea, dalawang bagay po yan, yung arbitration na ating napanalunan na sinabi niya na aadresin niya sa takdang panahon. Sa akin po, importante ito dahil ito po talaga ang first time na narinig ko sa bibig mismo ni Presidente na hindi niya isasantabi, binabaliwala itong arbitration na ito. At in fact, sa takdang panahon ay babalikan niya yung arbitration na yan. At ang Vietnam naman ay humingi ng tulong dahil meron silang joint submission for an extended continental shelf with Malaysia. No? So ang sabi ng Presidente, dalawa kasi yan, yung West Philippine Sea, yung mga maritime disputes, at saka yung extended continental shelf, pwedeng pag-usapan ng Pilipinas kung paano magkakaroon ng kooperasyon, kung paano tayo makakatulong dun sa kanilang submission for West Philippine Sea. Pero sa takdang panahon ay babalikin talaga ng Presidente itong arbitral award kung saan nanaig ang Pilipinas. Bagamat lininaw ng Presidente na itong panalo natin ay panalo lamang ng Pilipinas, no? Dahil it is binding only on the parties to the arbitration. No? Now, President Duterte also thanked Vietnam for warm reception being extended and good treatment being extended to around 3,800 Filipinos working in Vietnam. And at the end, he appealed for humanitarian assistance in favor of a certain Captain Rommel Aleria who has been detained in Vietnam since 2016 for alleged illegal cross-border transport of goods. Nag-ano rin nga pala ang presidente na talagang hindi niya tatantanan yung mga Abu Sayyaf na sadyang yung mga nangitnap no, doon sa mga Vietnamese sailors na ilan pa ata ay nandoon sa kamay ng mga Abu Sayyaf. At ang pangako niya ay hindi siya titigil hanggang hindi niya tuluyang napulbos at nasupil na talaga yung mga Abu Sayyaf na yan. Now, at nanindigan din sila na talagang yung usapin ng Code of Conduct ay importante. Yung Code of Conduct for the West Philippine Sea is importante at ito yung isang bagay na po pwedeng makipagtulungan at manindigan na bilang isa ang mga bansang ASEAN, no? Para mas malakas ang boses natin pagdating sa bansang China. Now, expected to be discussed naman by the President on his pull aside with Joko Widodo and with the President Joko Widodo, and he did say it during his bilateral with Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc, was security concerns. He wants to talk about modern-day extremism and terrorism with President Widodo, as well as the leaders of Malaysia and Singapore as well. No? He's expected to talk about increased security, fight against illegal drugs and transnational crimes, and implementation of trilateral maritime and air patrols with Indonesia and Malaysia. Of course, he is expected to underscore that both the Philippines and Indonesia must remain resolute in the fight against violent extremism while addressing both the symptoms and causes of terrorism. He is expected also to say that he is increasing, or he is hoping for even further trade agreements, and noted the presence of several big companies in Indonesia, including San Miguel, URC, Splash, Kahaya, and Liwayway. And he's expected to invite Indonesians to participate in the Build program of the government. Questions?
Sir, good evening. Edith Regalado po.
Yeah, Edith.
Yeah. Sir, you made mention about rice that was by Vietnam. Could you please explain further about it? And then, since we have a problem with the supply of rice in
Nanindigan lang po ang Vietnam na susuplayan nila tayo ng bigas pag tayo nangangailangan, at susuplayan nila tayo sa mababang halaga at sa mabuting kwalidad ng bigas. At ang presidente naman ay sumang-ayon na ang quality naman talaga ng Vietnamese rice ay napakaganda.
walang o yung ng kung ilang yung volume?
Wala pa pong volume, pero yung nanindigan po ang Vietnam na kung kinakailangan natin, bebentahan tayo ng bigas.
At sa mababang halaga.
Sa mababang halaga.
At magandang quality.
Magandang kwalidad.
When it comes to the fight against terrorism in that part of between Indonesia and the Philippines, there are about 126,000 boat trips between Mindanao and North Sulawesi. So, ang point niyan, and even the territorial waters there, may ba na to strengthen the cross-border?
Well, we're talking of a trilateral maritime and air patrols. Ibig sabihin, 3 bansa po ang magbabantay dyan sa rutang yan. Kasi nga, bago naman dumating ang mga westerners sa lugar na ito, iisa lang yung mga karagatan na yan. No? So, it's not just a bilateral sea patrol, it's going to be trilateral sea patrols that they want to implement in the waters around Mindanao.
Yeah. Hi, sir. I'm Christina Vendano, Inquirer. Sir, clarify lang. When you said kanina that the president will address the issue on the West Philippine Sea, sa arbitral tribunal ruling, what was the context of that when he said that? Did the Vietnamese Prime Minister ask him about it?
Well, it was definitely discussed, okay? And I guess the president just wanted it very clear that we are not abandoning, we are not ignoring, we are not setting aside the arbitral tribunal decision which is in our favor, and that he will deal with that arbitral award in due course, no? Not now, but at the right time.
You also said it was his first time to.
Well, first time I personally heard him say that, although that has been his position even in the past, that he is not abandoning it, he is not relinquishing it, but he made it very clear to a head of state that he recognizes that the gains of the arbitral award, and that he will refer to the arbitral award in due course, because he wants the totality of the West Philippine Sea controversy settled under the rule of law and pursuant to the binding norms of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea.
Is he expected to raise that as well during the leaders' retreat?
I'm not sure, but it was raised in the bilateral.
Oh, okay, just clarify. So he raised it, wala naman. I mean, the Vietnamese Prime Minister did not ask him about it.
Let me see the context. Well, the context was, it was the Vietnamese Prime Minister that brought it up because he was appealing for support on the joint filing of Malaysia and Vietnam for an extended continental shelf. No? Of course, our submission has been acted upon, and that is why the Philippine Deep belongs to us, no? Was awarded to us by the extended continental shelf. But if I understand correctly, the Prime Minister of Vietnam was lobbying even for other countries to support, no, that submission, because that would have substantial ramification. Although, of course, China's opposing it, and in the process of opposing it, that was the first time that they made mention of the 9 dash lines. No? So the reply of President Duterte was, yes, there are two things that we're talking about here: the West Philippine Sea and the maritime territory and the extended continental shelf, and that's the context by which he mentioned that the arbitral award he will refer to in due course, but that's binding only in the Philippines and China, and he will study the option of how the Philippines can be involved in the ongoing joint claim for an extended continental shelf between Vietnam and Malaysia.
Sir, last question na lang. So did I get it right? The president offered to help Vietnam on that issue with.
He will study and explore.
What kind of help did he exactly offer to Vietnam?
None. None, no? Pero if I don't know, maybe I'm revealing too much, no? So I would not reveal, but there was a specific proposal made by Vietnam, which I think would be going into too much detail if I were to reveal. So I leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, good evening. Maris Umali po,
Yes,
GMA
ma'am.
7. Sir, just follow up to what Christine asked, because you mentioned that this is the first time that you've heard the President to be talking about this arbitration.
With the head of
With the
state.
head of state. So how significant is this development, sir, especially that he is discussing this during the ASEAN summit?
Well, I hope Justice Carpio and all the critics of President Duterte will now keep quiet, because this is now a statement of the Philippine President made to another head of state, that he has not abandoned, he is not reneging, he is not relinquishing, he is not in any way ignoring the arbitration, and he considers it as a binding arbitral decision in favor of the Philippines.
And you mentioned, sir, that the code of conduct, the discussion of the code of conduct, makikipagtulungan, or the Philippines will be cooperating so that the ASEAN will have a louder voice
And yes,
against
because-
China. So
Yes.
how is this going to happen exactly? Can you just give
Well,
us
because the
details?
conduct on the code of conduct is bilateral and also between ASEAN and China. No? So it's happening in both levels. No? So I think there will be common code of conduct, no? To be arrived at, even if on a bilateral basis, by and between members of the ASEAN and China itself.
So, sir, you mean to say that at the end of this summit, do we expect like a message or how do you call that? Statement from the different leaders
This is not
issuing
a
this
summit,
decision?
ha? This is not an ASEAN summit. This is an ASEAN leaders meeting.
ASEAN
the summit
leaders
is still in
meeting.
November, no? But I believe in the last ASEAN summit in Manila, there was a statement that we should move forward with the code of conduct on the West Philippine Sea.
Sir, one last. Medyo magda-divert lang po ako ng konti because a while ago, Secretary Bello, in his press conference, he mentioned that the President will be announcing something big with regards to the next step of the Philippines regarding the Kuwait issue.
I confirm that he will announce the Philippine position personally during his arrival statement in Davao on Sunday.
Oh, so not here in Singapore or not in the Filipino community,
He wants to
sir?
announce it in Philippine soil. And we will all not be in Davao. Bulaga. All of us will not be in Davao when he does so.
Hi, sir. Sir, Pia Gutierrez from ABS-CBN. Sir, I know that the course of action will be revealed by the President, no? Pero can we ask whether that course of action includes going forward with the signing of the MOU?
I do not know anymore what will happen to the MOU. As I said, even when I addressed this issue in Malacanang, I could only surmise, no? But I do not know. Everything is up in the air now with recent developments, no? With the Philippine ambassador being recalled, and, well, with the Kuwaiti ambassador being recalled and the Philippine ambassador declared persona non grata. So anything that we say on this matter will be pure speculation, and let's not speculate.
Sir, can you tell us how the President was able to come up with the course of action, considering na wala pa po yung hinihintay na clarification coming from Kuwait?
I have to say that the President, being a lawyer with 30 years of executive experience, certainly had a very different reaction to the controversy. It was a course of action that was not specifically recommended by anyone. He made up his mind, and I appreciate it. It shows really his experience in governance, and there's wisdom, I guess, even in his number of years of leadership, as well as in his age. No? But he will announce it. Well, Edith can perhaps look at the past and look at the pattern. But I have to say, it's a position that he personally crafted.
Sir, another question naman po this time on the ASEAN Summit. Today was a very historic day, especially dun sa Korean Peninsula with both Koreas agreeing to pursue peace. How likely is it that ASEAN leaders will be discussing the developments during the ASEAN Summit, sir?
I think it's almost sure that they will express relief over this development and will congratulate the Koreans for the effort to talk peace amongst themselves as an encouragement to proceed with the talks.
What was the personal reaction po of President Duterte over this development?
Of course, everyone is relieved because we were all looking at the past prospects of a nuclear encounter in our backyard. No? So, very much relieved. As you know, whenever they test their missiles, it always lands in Philippine waters.
Thank you, sir.
We only have the room until 8:45. Some other state reserved it, so we have 4 minutes. 7:45, yeah. So we have 4 minutes. Ron, you
Hi,
are
sir.
from?
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, on the
You're
when you
from?
from Kyodo News, sir.
Kyoto.
Yes, sir. Yung sinabi mo, sir, that Vietnam parang praised the Philippine position against China. Is this the present strategy that we have now with China, or the move that we did in bringing up the matter to the arbitral tribunal, sir? Yung pag-praise ni Vietnam.
I think in general, the way we've handled China so far, no, is what they were referring to. So here, I quote, we will learn from his handling of China. And then, quote, the president handled China very well. Yun pa ang quote.
And then, sir, last, do you think China will react negatively by this discussion of our president with the Vietnam Prime Minister over?
I don't think so, because they have their own bilateral discussions ongoing.
Okay.
In fact, they even have joint patrols already over disputed waters. We haven't actually signed a joint development with China. They already have. Joint exploration, at least. Okay, if there are no more questions, we're out of... wait, may last question.
Sir, phone-in question lang from the Philippines. Nag-fail daw po kasi, sir, yung bidding ng NFA sa Vietnam at Thailand on the procurement of rice dahil sobra pong mahal. Na pagdiskusyonan po ba ito, sir, kanina dun sa meeting? Kasi ayon daw po sa Vietnam representative, hindi daw hawak ng kanilang government ang pricing ng bigas dahil price ito ng mga rice traders doon.
Well, siguro po yan yung tinatawag na yung importation through minimum access volume. So, pero ang naaproba naman po nung huling pagpupulong ay G2G. Ano itong opening of Open Summit? Okay. The event pala is the opening of the ASEAN Summit where all meetings will gather. Sorry. So it's not just a leaders meeting, it's the opening of a ASEAN Summit. So yun po ang sagot ko. No? Kasi na-authorize lang po yung G2G importation. Kailan lang yung pagpupulong sa palasyo nung in-announce ko po, di ba? Ilan yun? Wala pang 1 linggo siguro yun, di ba? O 2 linggo na ba? Ewan ko na, basta pag nasa Malacanang ka, wala ka ng sense of time, basta you're there. But hindi pa po matagal yun. Pero I can surmise po na kapag ganitong bidding po, baka yan yung private sector driven.
I understand, sir, government-to-government bidding daw po yun, sir.
Ganun kabilis na kapag bidding na sila.
Yung
Ewan ko po.
250,000
Hindi ko po alam. So my
metric
answer
tons.
is I do not know. I'll check.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, maraming salamat po and good evening po sa lahat.